Way hey, what is the crack, folks? We're back to a Sunday hobby hangout as we're taking a break from the war bosses, which has been taking over the Sunday hobby hangouts. So there's a lot of battle reports going up. We'll see what plans we have in the future, but there's going to be 15 episodes, the first of which will be myself and 6 plus Stevo playing on, I think it's the Badlands map if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But yeah, we've got a new Ork Codex, and we've got new formations, one of which is the Bully Boys. So I have dug out some of my Mega Armored Nobz. I bought 3 of the plastic ones way back when they first came out, and then didn't bother with them much, and then I got a load of them. So I have a fat stack of sprues. I have a fat stack of Mega Nobz sprues for building 2 units of 6 at least. I think I can do, yeah, 2 units of 6 and then some characters, because you can build a character or 2 with them. So we might do a mega big mech, a mega armor with like a custom force field, and we'll do one with the teleport blast or whatever it's called. But more importantly, we're looking to do a build, so a Bully Boys build. So what I'm thinking is, I've found a couple of these black orc heads. So they're from Warhammer Fantasy, or would be Age of Sigmar now at this stage. And I bought these years ago when it was Warhammer Fantasy. And I was thinking to myself just what would look cool on the heads front. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. I'm thinking of doing the black orc helmet and give them extra shoulder pads for armor. And then I don't know really after that. I'm thinking maybe to do little green stuff medals to sort of make them a bit more blood axey, or maybe put like stuff up on the back of them, like backpacks or like little tarpaulins rolled up or something like that. Or I was trying to think maybe the ventilators. Initially I was going to leave the armored jaws off and just do them like that, cut the horns off and have the vents going back like with the Wabanner knob. But I think the jaw looks cool. So if we do the mega armored knob jaw, mega armored knob jaw that they come with, and then do a couple of these. But I only have 3 heads is the only problem. So like these iron gobs are really sweet, but I only have 3 of these heads. So I need to dig through the old bits boxes and see if I can find more and build away. So this is what I'm going to be doing today. Is I'm just going to be building some of the base bodies for the mega armored knobs, because I'm not really doing much on the conversion front in that regard. But that's the direction I'm going with. I'm going to be trying to make them look blood axey, give them extra armor, extra shoulder pads, and build them up. I did come up with a list that had quite a lot of knobs and mega knobs. I think it was 3 units of mega knobs and a Gazgul as well, a 2,000 point list. I sort of just came up with one for the crack. Barrels need to be drilled, clearly. But this is a sort of the vibe I'm going in. I'm just blue tacked, so I haven't really glued the shoulders and the stuff. I'm just sort of blue tacking stuff up. A poster tack comes in super handy to mock stuff up. And that's the idea. It's just to see if you like where a bit is going, and then blue tack it in, and then if not, then you can take it off again instead of gluing it or ungluing it and that sort of thing. But I just need to decide what to do. I might build some vents up here, the ventilators, like what I did with the Wabanner knob, or I might do something else. Lorcan's here. What is the crack, Lorcan? How are you keeping? Sadly, I've no Leviathan ships to be painting up. Otherwise, I'd be painting Leviathan ships. That would be great crack. But alas, I shall make do with what I have. So we are going to be building the Mega Armor Knobs. How is everyone keeping? What hobby is everyone up to? Are we building Battletech stuff? I have a whole pile of Battletech bits. I still have a massive stash of them from the Christmas event that need painting up. We've got UK Games Expo coming up soon as well. I will be attending and helping out there. That's the plan. Sci-fi has appeared. What is the crack, Sci? Si's been keeping himself busy as well. How goes the progress on the bikes? You did quite a lot of work on the bikes and a chin orcopter lately, so you have been keeping yourself busy. Super busy. Loads of hobby done. I think it's fun that I'm finally getting some build in on these guys. But like, I'm looking at the price of them. Jesus, I don't even, like, off the top. Let me just check the Games Workshop store, because it's crazy. I want to see what the price is like if you buy direct from them. And it's not cheap. Like these Mega Armor Nobz, I remember I had a whole unit of these guys in metal, and I remember them being €10.50 per blister, and I thought that was a bit steep back in the day. And then they brought out the plastic kit, and the plastic kit, from the best of my knowledge from the get-go, was not cheap. Let's have, what have we got? Subject scene. Is this it? Is this the right subject scene? There we go. Look. So we'll have a look at the prices here for Games Workshop. Just how much are the Mega Armored Nobz? They are not cheap at all. So from Games Workshop Direct themselves, you're looking at €55, which is a bit steep. Now, if you're lucky, you can get like a 20% retailer or something like that. See if you can get 20% off. That's kind of hard to find in Ireland. But then you're looking at least 50 quid for 3 of them. So if you're doing 2 units of 6, you're looking at least 200 quid. Now, thankfully, I was a cute hewer a while back. I held off on buying Mega Armor Nobz. I bought one set of Mega Armor Nobz when they were first released. Jesus, gone back. I think it was like 2015, 2014. 2013 is the year on the sprue. Yeah, 2014 was when they were released, because they came out with the Gork on these guys. And I think they updated the flyer as well. It was in and around the same time. But basically, I bought 3 of them. So that's these 3 guys here who ended up primed, and I didn't glue the heads in or whatever. And did a little bit of painting on them, but didn't do much. And then I held off because, like, I had, or I still have, stashed away somewhere, 10 Mega Armored Nobz in metal. At least 10, I think 9, because I used to run 3 groups of 3 back in the day. And barely anyone had them because, you know, they weren't exactly cheap. But when the Saga of the Beast came out, that box set that had Gazgul in it, and it had Mega Nobz, and I think it was it was Ragnar Blackmane, and some Space Marines. I bought, I think, 2 or 3 boxes of that, and I held on to the Mega Armored Nobz from that set. So I've been sitting on a pile of Mega Armored Nobz for a few years now, and I just haven't done anything with them. And the fact that I don't have my metal ones to hand at the moment, they're stashed away in a super secret shed. I mean, now's the time, good a time as any, to sort of build these plastic ones, but it's just a case of making them your own in regards to blood axes. So I'll see if I can do some conversions headwise. I think in the Iron Gobs, I do like the Black Ork Iron Gob heads. I think they look pretty cool. And then I think I'll just give them medals and other bits and pieces and paraphernalia like that to sort of make them look blood axey, if you get me. That's the thing with the orcs. And then of course, like, a camo paint scheme will help massively on that front as well. If you do them up in a camouflage, that would be pretty cool. It will help a lot. I'm committing a cardinal sin here, and I'm building live. I have not built live in a very, very long time, because I have a tendency to lose concentration and either cut into bits or cut into myself. So hopefully we don't lose a finger tonight. But how is everyone keeping? Hooray, we have a few people in the house. Like I say, they actually made a bunch of the new torpedo counters for relays yesterday, and I painted 2 warships for Battletech today. Oh, nice. Lots of naval stuff. Today's hobby is self-medication after breaking a drill bit in a pin voice and stabbing my finger. Oh, Jesus. So you cannot be trusted with a pin voice, let alone anything else. Who do you think you are, Steve-O? You'll be losing digits next. I bought myself a brand swanking new Swan Morton blade, so hopefully we don't lose any digits in the process. But we should be grand, I reckon. Whoops, knocking the camera there. It's a very tight space in and around this hobby area, and it's absolutely clustered with bits, orcs, battlement. We've literally, like, within arm's reach, we have mechs, orcs, you know, infantry from Battletech, aerospace fighters. You know what I mean? This desk is a mixed bag of things. You'll have all sorts knocking around. And it's not one of those professional sort of, hey, look at my desk, isn't it clean? It's a bleeding mess. But it's grand. Creative space. Bit of chaos to it. You know yourself. Lorker saying, truly I know the pain I have a scar my thumb from a slip scalpel. Ooh. Mainly the ego's being bruised on side. Poor side. Last time I stabbed a dribble into my thumb. Bruised under the skin and I couldn't touch things with that thumb for a few days. Ouch. Think of it this way, Scar. €55 from GW. That's €30 for 2 Legion Imperialis Stormblades, Paintblade variants. Yeah, it's steep enough. Keith is saying he's got 3 of the metal ones and 3 plastic ones. Well, if I remember correctly, the plastic ones are slightly bigger, just ever so slightly bigger than the metal ones. And I think originally I was just going to keep 3 and use them as the boss knobs. Because that wasn't the thing. Boss knobs weren't a thing back in the day. It wasn't until, Jesus, what edition was it? Was it 6th edition? Where they made like unit champions characters and they could issue challenges. And of course, there was oversight in Games Workshop behalf when it came to orcs, because they had forgotten that Ork Nobz are the leaders of orc boy units, but there's also a whole unit of knobs. So we had this weird overlap where knobs were a whole unit of characters, and I think it broke the mechanism. So then they came in with this terminology where it's like boss knob. So it's not just a case of just being a knob, it's boss knob is the moniker that's used now. But I just think it's funny that has stayed in the game. It's sort of an artifact, which is pretty funny. Pardon me, I'll just put my phone on vibrate. I had forgotten to. But yeah, it's little things like that. When you're in the hobby long enough, you realise, you know, oh, they didn't take this into account. This has changed now. But yeah, I was originally going to keep like the 3 plastics that I bought there when they first came out back in 2014, I believe. And use them as boss knobs because they're slightly bigger for the remaining Mega Armor knobs I have. But like I said, when Saga the Beast came out, I bought multiple box sets and I sold off one of the Gazgulls and I sold off the Space Marine sides. And I think it worked out that through buying off of a third-party retailer, a British third-party retailer. This was pre-Brexit, so none of that tariff malark. So buying off of a British third-party retailer and then reselling stuff. I think it worked out that I literally spent €50 for 2 Gazgulls, 9 Mega Nobz, and then I think it was like 3 sets of knobs as well. I think it worked out that I ended up paying €50 for all of that through buying and selling stuff. So it's always worth keeping an eye out when orcs are in a box set and seeing if you can get them at a discount and then sell off. Hopefully they're matched up with a decent faction. Sell off like the likes of Space Marines or whatever else, or see if they're going on eBay for cheap. But that's how I ended up with this many Mega Nobz. Otherwise I wouldn't. Just the price, and they're pretty much like 50 quid a pop. It's like, Jesus Christ. Arm and a leg. Arm and a leg. Who else has rocked in? Gary Hauser's here. What's the crack, Gary? Sci-Fi is saying to give them that blood axe effect. Cover them in Zimmerite. I mean, you know, there's not much space to put. Well, I suppose you could put a bit of Zimmerite here, and there's not a lot of flat space, but that's not a bad concept actually. But I can't I can't see getting Zimmerite in. I'd have to watch scale model tutorials on how to do Zimmerite again. That would be hilarious. Maybe on their gob and stuff like that. Some patches of Zimmerite. That would be funny. In fairness, that sounds hilarious. I don't know the practicalities of actually pulling it offside, but it does sound hilarious. Decent is here as well. What's the crack? Heritage Junkin, been there. Have all the time shorts. I'm putting a unit of foot knights for Bretonians together. Ooh, jeez. Bretonians were my first army. I remember that. Like, my very first box set for Warhammer was back in Warhammer 5th edition Fantasy Battles was when I got my very first miniature. In fact, we were in the shopping centre today, myself and the missus, and I was telling her about where the GW store used to be and how there used to be a fountain in the shopping mall or the shopping centre. And I remember buying like the 5th edition fantasy box set and being so excited about it. I told her, I was like, you know, there used to be a fountain here, and I remember there was benches, and I remember exactly where I was sitting, and I was so happy because it was like they were doing a clearance sale because the next edition was coming out. And they had, I think it was like a sale day, so it was like they had a sale going, and they were doing clearance on the 5th edition box sets because the next edition was coming out. And I ended up getting it for like €20. Like the core box set. I think it was like €20 or £20. I think it would have been pounds, sorry. I got it for like £20 because it was pre-Euro. That's how long ago it was. So I ended up buying the box set for £20, and I think it was like 60 or something like that. It was less than half price anyway for a brand new box set of the 5th edition starter set, which had loads of archers and knights of the realm, and it had lizardmen and stuff. Sadly, I traded that away a few years later to a friend who lived across the road at the time when we were teenagers, and that was the end of most of them. But yeah, I have fond memories of the Bretonians. The Knights in the Realm box set was one of the first boxes I get, because I got the Start Painting box set, so it came with Bretonian archers. I think it was like 4 or 6 Bretonian archers. I think you got 9 paints, a paintbrush, and that was like the Start Painting box set. And I remember my stepdad bought me the Bretonian Knights in the Realm because it was a box set of 2 knights, and it was in that sort of very vivid Warhammer Fantasy 1990s vibrant colour box set. Yeah, that was the first set of minis I ever got. I used to love going into that shopping centre all the time and going into the Games Workshop, literally disappear, which I find funny because now that we're running like our Battletech club, there's a lot of the guys who used to work in the Games Workshop are actually part of the Battletech club, so we get told, you know, get filled in of all of the stories, you know what I mean, as I went in as a kid, like these you know, older gamers, dudes a little bit older than me, you know, were working there at the time, and you know, all the stories they have, all the shenanigans that used to go on in stores and stuff like that, and so it's interesting hearing it from the other side now, which is pretty cool. But yeah, good times, good memories. That's where I first learned to paint and everything, man. And I think it's like a chiropodist now, or it's a specialist shoe seller. And you can still like see where the window frame where they've painted it cream now, and there's a little bit of the red showing underneath. You know what I mean? It's still a little bit of it there, you know, from the back when it was Games Workshop stores and they had the red frame. That was when I started back in the day. I think that closed. Jesus, that closed 2010. 2010, I think that shut down. So you're looking at 14 years ago now. When I used to go there as a kid. What have we got? Comments was, if you want spare scalpel blades, become friends with a lab tech. They'll be able to grab you a few spare. I don't think I know any lab techs. I bought a few spare blades anyway, just to be sure. I used to buy them in boxes. Yeah. So I bought Swan Morton, is it? I bought spare blades as well. Now I don't know where the hell I've put them, but no, not friends with a lab tech, sadly. Yeah, these ones here. Yeah. So I buy Sheffield's finest. Commander respirators where the mask tusks would be killed. Do you know what, Tommy? I was thinking of doing something like that if I was going to leave the jaws off. If I was leaving the Mega Arbor Knob jaws off, I was thinking of so I cut the tusk off of this one, and I was thinking if I did like the respirator mask on one of them, and then did a pipe going back to a respirator. Like, hold on, give me a second. I'll get the. I'll get the old wild banner knob. So I was thinking if I did something like this, if you get me. So see the way he has his mask. So originally they would have been, there was tusks there. I was thinking of doing a respirator like this, like so the wild banner knob. If I did a respirator, so think of this sort of respirator maybe on the top or something like that, with a tube coming down and then into the tusk. But I think there's not enough space to do that if I do the metal jaw. Do you know what I mean? Like, there'll be just the pipe, you know, the hose will be covering the face. Unless I, like, get the hose coming in the side of the jaw. So maybe if I do, you know, the hose coming down along the back there, coming into the side of the jaw, maybe that's not a bad idea. And then have it coming up and connected in or something like that. I don't know. That sounds a bit messy, but it might be doable, if you get me. But that's what I was thinking. I was thinking of doing respirators initially, but I'm just trying to think of the execution on how to get them done, if you know what I mean. But yeah, respirators, I was thinking of that. I'm a fan of, as you can tell, I'm a fan of the idea of a respirator or two. Decent is saying his hobby scars are his smallest scars. Zen's here, what's the crack, Tom? I'm putting together Gorkanauts. Will mostly look, fair play. Favourite one, Gary saying, it was when the Exacto rolled off the table and stuck blade down onto my bare foot. I nearly had that. I've had one of these blades fall off a desk and literally end point up in the wooden floor right beside me foot while I was wearing flip-flops. So I've nearly gotten that, but thankfully I've managed to dodge that bullet. Lorcan is saying, oddly, every time I'm in Blanche, all I remember is how much I hate shopping centres. I mean, it's alright, actually. I quite enjoy Blanchardstown Shopping Centre, but that's because I have, like, nostalgia for it. You know what I mean? Going into Burger King and after buying a Bretonnian Hero, my grandparents got it for me birthday, and a bag of flock. You know what I mean? So, literally, if I go into that shopping centre, it just reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of starting in the hobby. It reminds me of happy days. So I like going there. But there's a good few nice bits to it as well. Like, it's not a bad shopping centre. I drop in now and then. Not that often, but every now and then I drop into it. Craig David. What's the crack, Robin Hood? How are we all keeping? Are we all working on 40k? Because I know the channel's a bit of a mixed bag. Some people are a bit perplexed. They're like, wait a minute, I thought this was Battletech. I'm like, haha, tis both. Tis tabletop wargaming. We got drawn back in, you know. Every time I think I'm getting out, I get drawn back in again to this filthy 40k. By Jesus. We had our war boss meet there the other week, and we played. Jesus, we played a load of games. We played 15 battle reports between the 6 of us. And it was just crazy, man. So there was a lot of 40k played. It was great crack. It was good fun. Enjoyed it. And yeah, just I suppose having that much fun with your mates like gets you back into the spirit of wanting to play the game. I have learned that putting the sides in first and then gluing the rest of the miniature onto it makes things a little bit easier, as I did have difficulty earlier on trying to get it to align properly. it would not align for me. It would not sit well. I literally had to get a pliers with a bit of weight on it to just hold the miniature together and get it to set properly. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm just going to tip away and glue a couple of these together. And this does not seem to want to sit here. Trying to figure out why though. Is this for the right body? Or is it the wrong one? I don't see why it's the wrong one. Or is it a bit of plastic? So yeah, fun and games. But yeah, the Bully Boys formation, I was looking at that. I was thinking that would be a bit of fun. Why does this not want to sit flush? For some reason. There we go. Jesus, talk about a tight fit, huh? My God. So yeah, you need to be careful. Do you know what? I'm gonna use extra tin. I'm gonna use Tamiya extra tin and just hold it, and then just feed it through the seam line. Did you know that you can actually extend these tips? So the way there's that piece here, and when you get to the end of it, you can actually get a pliers and pull it and extend it. So you can actually get the last bit of glue. A lot of people don't know that when they get to the end of their bottle and seem somewhat heartbroken that they can't use the last of it. But it's like, aha, there's a trick. Didn't you know? Tom Mac is saying the jaws look badass though. They do indeed look badass. Cool for a couple of them. Or under the armpit. Well, look, we'll fit it in wherever we can. The CGW added Bad Broken Zagstruck to made to order list. I saw that decent actually, which I think I can understand people being a bit upset. It's like you've taken it away. You've taken it away with the latest release, and then to put them on a limited release. Then it's like it's very soon. You know what I mean? It's a bit soon in my eyes to be releasing them as legends. I mean, it gives people the opportunity. You know, if you missed out on buying them, it gives people the opportunity. I'm not too worried myself. I have multiple of them. Another thing that I could not get over, I was like, holy Jesus, we're gonna go look at the price of something again on the GW web store. The Death Dread, the metal Death Dread that they've released, or they've re-released, for a good few coin. How much was that going for? That was going for some crazy money, wasn't it? Or is it even still there? Oh, it is still there. Hold on. Look, we'll look at this. So if we look at the made to order, €60. Now this is online only, and it's made to order, so you have to order from Games Workshop. And obviously this is in euros. But boy, like I've like 6 of these or something. I've 5 or 6 of these guys knocking around. So I'm sitting. I didn't realise I was sitting on a couple of £100 worth of miniature. As I say, the missus is sitting in the background going, "Oh, well, there's the retirement fund." But yeah, and these guys as well, like the Blood Axe Commandos. I have a few of these guys. There's the Nobz as well. If we look, we can actually stretch this to the screen. So if we transform and stretch the screen, we'll do that. Oh. Yeah, the Commandos as well. It's a bit mad. What are they? Resin? Shocking money for the Dread. Yes, they're still resin. Ugh. Be metal or no, I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't bother buying them in resin. That's just a bit rich. I mean, I'd like a Mega Boss, but like 30 something quid for one. And then the boys, Jesus wept, €42.50 for 10 boys. For them boys, shocking. I have recently bought these Defcopters, because I couldn't find a lot of my old Defcopters, so I've bought a set of 3 of these new ones. But what did I get them for? £42. So I bought them off of a British retailer. So British prices are cheaper than European prices, just because they do, Games Workshop do this weird internal exchange rate that, you know, if you're in a different region, you just get charged more for some reason or another. So I got them cheaper. I think they're supposed to be £40, I think. So there's a €15 markup off of Games Workshop just for being in a different region. But I bought them there, and I think I got them for £32 altogether. But these are push fit kits. I was very surprised. These kits are push fit kits. I don't know what to do with the base. I might do something with them because my other ones are on the old school flying stands. But these guys are all push fit kits. So we have a box of them as well. That will that'll have to go with the flying circus of sorts, or apocalypse now force that we have. So I still have to build a couple of Ork copters. I'd like to finish off that force because the list that we had was a 1,000-point list. So I'd be interested to do the other 1,000 points, you know what I mean? Like the 2,000-point army. I think that'd be pretty cool to get it built. But I don't even know what I don't know what sort of formation to use with it. What would be most ideal? Would it be like the Wa tribe one, or what formation? I don't know off the top of my head which one would be the most ideal, because it's full of Storm Boys, Dev Copters, Ork Copters, you know what I mean? But it's a nice teamed army list. I did like doing the Mortal Wounds with the Death Copters when they did work that once or twice. But it's very hard to sort of pull it off at times on the battlefield. Resin, Jesus, only having till the 30th to make the older old world orc stuff. What is it going then? Yes, there's still resin. Choco money for dread. Now, I'm thinking you could run your hose from the back, make it saggy, run under the arm and to the iron gob for a less crowded look. I mean, yeah, that could be done. Put it in under the armpit here. Run it off of one of the sides and just plunk it in underneath. But I am strongly thinking of doing medals. I am thinking of doing a couple of medals because they're the Mega Nobz, so they're, you know, the most elite of the elite, and they'll have earned a medal or two. So I'm thinking of using I think it's Maru or whatever it's called. It's this blue stuff. I'm thinking if I make, so that's a Centurion, but I was thinking if I make a couple of medals out of plastic cards, that I could make a mold of them and I could just do medals. Do you know what I mean? Because I think it'd be hilarious if they had a few medals, like the Mega Armor Nobz. These would be the most elite dudes, so of course they'd have medals. It's very Blood Axe. You know what I mean? And then yeah, might do a respirator with a hose underslung. That's not a bad idea actually. Just get it up and out of the way. That would be cool. The knobs are very tempting. Yeah, it's not a bad box set. They look cool. But I already see, the thing is, for the likes of me, an old school collector who's been at it years and years and years, I have most of this stuff, or I definitely have this stuff already. Gary was saying impurity seals for the orcs. Exactly. Or even, yeah, you could do impurity seals, but I was even thinking of just like, you know, ribbons, medals with the ribbons and the bars, you know what I mean? I was thinking that would be hilarious and pretty cool. Very militaristic. I mean, if you had an impurity seal, what would it be? It would be green, obviously, because it's orky, and then it would have like what? Like you know, you could do a Blood Axe one, I suppose, for your faction. So a green impurity seal, and just like a little bit of paper, just, you know, saying wow on it or whatever. That would be funny. That would be hilarious, actually. So there you go. There's another idea. Great idea there. Impurity seals, medals, respirators. This is how we team our Mega Armor Nobz, guys. Make them all Blood Axe, or make them your own clan, you know. One box of old world orc boys or 6 old commandos. Are the old school orcs not sticking around now? Melton Nobz kit, yeah. Have a mixed up one that has loads of old Cadbury's chocolate tin lids instead of medals. I'm sure that's probably what they do make the medals out of. Roses tins. Oh boy, Jesus. Such a travesty what they've done to Roses tins. I wouldn't thank you for one at Christmas these days. Jeez, we're talking about Christmas already, and it's what? It's May. Right, so on to assembling the legs. So we have arms. So arms for punching and the legs for stomping. And then where's the base? Ta-da! We've acquired a base. With a bit of a nubbin sticking out of it. Jesus. So that needs to be cleaned up a bit. How old's this base? Original casting 1999. Jesus. A while ago. Right, so I do like the extra tin. The only problem I have with it is it can run a bit wild. So you need to be careful when it... No, that doesn't go that way. That's that arm, that's this arm. I'll throw that leg on there. Whoa. So that'll go together nicely. Yeah, I reckon like doing the core of the body and then coming back and just customizing it whatever way you want for your own faction. Again, like I was saying, paint jobs will have a big effect on it as well. So the camo color scheme will do a lot for defining it as Blood Axe. Boy, Jesus, the place stinks to high hell with this glue. It's the only thing I don't like about it. And then I remember, of course, that I have this version of the glue, which doesn't stink up as much, so I shall switch to that instead. This is kind of like the extra tin, but it doesn't stink. It smells of a citrusy colour. Just as good, glues just as well. You can tell when someone's like a plastic art aficionado when they've got like multiple types of plastic glue. And the funny thing I find as well is like these panel liners that I bought that I haven't tried yet are stored in the same place and they're the same type of bottles. They're literally the same type of bottles. I want to try them on the Battle Mechs when I get the chance. But for now, I get distracted too easily. I think that's my downfall here. As I get distracted way too easy. It's like, oh, and this, and that, and this. Bit of a hobby butterfly. We still have bits to build for the team's flying list. Have a mix, yeah. Paint Sarge stripes on their arms. Could do. The ones that are the leaders, maybe give them Sarge stripes on the jaunty caps. Give them caps. That'd be cool. There's loads of little bits you can put on them. I was hoping for like epaulets, or I forget what they're called, where it's like it's epaulets, but they have like tassels coming out. So if you did that, but made it so that it's like a chain, you know what I mean? I thought that would be a cool idea, but I couldn't. I was trying to find jewelry chain, but I couldn't find any jewelry chain to sort of pull that off. I think that would look cool. Would also add to the armor. If you see like the turret armor on some tanks, some modern tanks, they have like chain with a ball on the end as part of their armor. So I thought that, you know, that sort of ties into that very walking tank aesthetic that the Mega Nobz have, and it, you know, ties into military again. Heritage Junction, back on the 40k wagon for now. Back on the 40k wagon for now. Until we get tied in to do some Battletech stuff. But yeah, dabbling with the old 40k again. Sure, why not? Like I said, I'm only back there the other week from last week, actually. Only back from our War Boss event, so 5 games of 10th Ed in 3 days, no less. Boy Jesus. It's like a busman's holiday it was. And plenty of painting. Holy Christ. I've never painted so much. In the last month, I've probably painted more than I've ever painted. Some of the stuff looked really good. Some of the Storm Boys, I got like the flame effects done. But I think I'd have to do a bit of work on some of them. They need to be varnished because they took a bit of a beating just from being handled. And Storm Boys have no sticking power on the battlefield, which I found interesting. But they're really, really fast and really aggressive, which is really cool because people find them intimidating then. Especially when you get like a forced horn charge and you're just in their face with all your Storm Boys. If you get the forced horn as well, yeah, it's crazy. Like, just the amount of them you can get in. It's sadly I didn't have Zagstruct with me. If I had Zagstruct with me, I think it would have been even cooler again. I had brought the WA banner knob on a Pain Boy. And I had them off with the unit of knobs. This does not go on this foot. This goes on the other foot. Well done, Muggins. So, this goes on this foot. See, they have different types of pegs to stop you from gluing the wrong foot on the wrong leg. Which I almost tried to do. Mega Nobz kit's alright. It's grand. It's not a difficult kit to glue together. Seems to work fine. And glue some stubby arms on. I like that they're a peg and socket for the power claws on the weapons. That means you don't have to magnetize them. You can just sort of build them and then dry fit whatever weapons you want on yourself. So typically that's typically the power fist, this arm. You cannot make your own epaulette things using the green stuff roller. You could do, but they'd have to be like super fine. That would take forever, man. Have a look at the gold color tapestry thread. That might work. I'll have a look. Those Storm Boys looked awesome. Oh, thanks, Keith. Yeah, they did. Thankfully, they looked pretty mint in the end. I'll say there's 1 or 2 in the box. I'll dig them out. I literally have not unpacked them. There's still a little bit of work that could be done on the Storm Boys themselves. Does this one fit on this base? I don't think so. Some of them fit in. Some of them fit in certain bases well. As I said, like, really, you need to give them a varnish because there's bits of green coming up, so I'll need to do some repair work on some of these and then varnish them and seal them in. But yeah, as you can see, it's very basic on the Stormboy himself, but I wasn't too worried once I got base colors on. The effect looks cool. Now, what I'm really interested to do with these is when the plastic dropships come out from Battletech, this'll look mint. I'm gonna have flight stands for each of the dropships. I think that will look really cool, like mid-battle, having dropships coming down. I know there's one of the Tuckied landing zones. They had dropships coming down, so that's what I'm really excited to try that out with is doing dropships, and then I also want to try out some Borna Boys as well, and 1 or 2 of the flyers. I was trying to think of how to mount a flyer to its base without a flying stand, like firing a missile maybe. I was thinking that'd be cool, you know what I mean? But yeah, definitely learning how to use the airbrush to get the best effect with them really paid off dividends. Super helpful. And very quick once you get the methodology down. It's like once you figure out, oh, I need to spray the black on first, and then I spray the other colors on after the fact, and then I have to angle it so that I don't accidentally overspray the areas I've just done. So you get me? So once you figure that bit out, that's half the battle. It all just sort of falls into place then, if you get me. So like when you're painting this, you can see flecks of green where it's been damaged from being played. So when you're painting this, you paint the black, and then when you're spraying the grey, you'll spray the whole way up. But you do like light, and then just build it up, and then just go to the other colours. This probably isn't the best one to show. Maybe the one of the longer ones. So go back here. So like spraying it grey. But when you're spraying it, you don't want to spray down. You want to spray across, so any of the overspray comes over will land. Any of the overspray you want to land here. So you'll spray there. Imagine it's holding an airbrush. Well, there's an airbrush. So you'll spray, and any of the overspray will go that way. And then you just build up the layers. And switch colour, you know, go red and then orange and then less and less of it, yellow. And then at the very tip, I just did a little tiny spray of white at the top of them. And that was that. But I'll have to do a tutorial for it. You can do it with dry brushing as well. It will just take a hell of a lot longer. Just dry brush everything, dry brush your layers up. But like I said, it's so much quicker with the airbrush. You know what I mean? I mean, you can dry brush, of course you can, but it's just so much more hassle. Drunken Orcs appeared. What is the crack? Agreed, the Storm Boys look great. Oh, cheers, thanks, decent. Swiss Army knife from the Commando kit hanging off a Mega Nobz would be hilarious. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I did hold on to them. I didn't use them on the Commando kit because I figured they'd be good bits. So there's loads of little bits we could add in. Not a bad idea at all. Sid's here. How are you doing, Sid? What hobby are you up to yourself? Are you getting any hobby done? Are you chilling like a villain? We're throwing Storm Boys around, apparently. I'm glad my desk is no longer purely occupied by Storm Boys. It's now got a massive stack of battle mechs that were in the art case that I used to transport the army. I think that's a bit of a travesty, to be honest with you. I think, like, in my opinion, the best transport case that Games Workshop ever did was the art case, and they stopped making it pretty quickly after they released it. Which is a pity, because it's kind of like a Pelican case. Like, it's got a gasket seal on it, and it's even got like a screw, you know, so you can have it so that it's fully waterproof, or if you want to you know, if it's gone the hold of an aircraft, you take the screw out. That's even got a gasket seal on it. You take the screw out if it's gone the hold of an aircraft, so it can so its pressure can regulate or normalize, or whatever the hell you want to say. And we'll glue this one to the middle of his base. So if I'm saying those flecks of green are concentrated wild energy, totally fine, don't worry about it. Gary's saying he's been trying not to tread water the last week because of the flooding. Ooh. Live in a houseboat. Best advice. Trying to finish the beast boss on the trampoline squig, says Keith. Ooh. Scar, you might try getting the autumn clump foliage in the future. It's red and orange and yellow rather than green clump foliage. Do you know what, decent? I'd actually prefer if I could buy black clump foliage. I prefer black because it's less hassle if the base of it is the black. Then I'd only have to, that would cut out priming and a lot of the effort. See, the problem I'd have is if I did with the autumn clump foliages, any of the black smoke that I have, any of the area that has black smoke, if that takes damage, well then it's going to pop up as red. Probably not as noticeable as green, but my local hobby shop, as is tends to be the case, had the green foliage clusters. Don't tell me his foot's broken. No, his foot's not broken. What is going on? My local hobby shop, which deal like model railroad stuff, had the green foliage clusters. So you know yourself, it's just a case of using whatever you can get to hand. I'm actually thinking of... Well, actually, no, that'll do. Will it? Won't it? See, sometimes I like going back to the standard Tamiya cement. It's because it's... Well, never mind. It's like, oh, I don't think it's gluing to the base. It's like, no, it's gluing to the base. Not as well as I would like, but it is. Barely. No. So sometimes, you know, it pays off having more than one plastic glue. I like having different viscosities of super glue as well. It's good having a thin super glue. Like, look at the difference between that now. Like, this guy's not going to be bleeding, moving nowhere. Look at him. Jesus. Glued. Our legions of mega armored knobs grow. We will be nigh unstoppable. Whee! What have we got? We've got the bones of them going. But you know what makes me sad though? You can't take them in units of 10 no more. So we've got 5 there. So the units of 6, isn't it? Units of 6 and a character. Just checking there's none on this sprue. Now on to the next sprue. What other mega armored knob shall be free from its plastic prison? Drunken Orc is saying, I'm trying to attach a large floor to a base with magnets for ease of transporting. What a pain in the hoop. Yeah, this is the thing, like doing miniatures so that they look cool is one thing, but doing miniatures that look cool that can also be transported in a case to play at a game is another matter entirely. So this is why I didn't glue the Stone Boys to their flight stands, because Jesus, there'd be no way to transport them then. You know what I mean? They'd break. They just friction fit. I mean, I probably could put a magnet on some of them, but I think just having friction fits is just fine, because they're, you know, I used wire co-hangers as the core, and that pokes up into the back of the backpack. So I just got I got a pin vise, and I measured for a drill bit that was the same diameter roughly as the co-hanger. So once that was drilled, it just friction fits in, and then it's grand. It works, like, you know. You just have to take into account once you've done a few coats of paint that it's gonna be a bit of a tight squeeze, but eventually they'll fit. You know, not a bit of brute force and ignorance won't fix, as is always the case. But yeah, I don't think I'm gonna glue the arms on these Mega Nobz. I think I'm just going to decide what power claws I want or don't want, and then go from there. I'll do some of them in power claws, some of them in kill saws, or jeez, I don't even know off the top of my head the difference in game. You know, the last time I was paying attention to the rules, one would have been 1d6. I think the other one would have been 2d6 for armor penetration. But Jesus, there's not armor facings, there's not armor. You know, I think that all went out in 7th. So when was 8? 8 was a while ago. It's like 2017, I think. 2016, 2017. It's been a hot minute. But you get loads of bits on this sprue as well. It's pretty cool. So loads of spare power saw, not power saws. Can't even think. Power claws. Yay. Power claws and saws. So the Bully Boys formation that I was looking at has 3 units of 10 knobs. So getting all them to have power claws and stuff. I'm literally trying to scavenge power claws from everywhere. I have like old Terminator arms that I'm just bleeding, sticking on power claws. You know what I mean? Just stick them on anywhere. That'd be, I think that'd be an interesting list. I think it was like 3 battle wagons. Gazgul in one by himself, unless they've errata or FAQ'd whether Gazgul and Macari count as 18 or 19 miniatures, because you could stick, what? You could stick 2 Mega Nobz in then if he only counts as 18. Which would be cool. But anyway, I digress. Either way, you can have Gazgul in one battle wagon, and then you could have 9 Mega Nobz. So I think I did a unit 6 and unit of 3 and 2 other battle wagons each. So unit of 3 in one battle wagon and unit of 6 in another battle wagon. 2 war bosses. 2 mega armor, 2 mega bosses, I think, in those battle wagons. And then you could have 3 trucks with 10 knobs. And I think that's 2,000 points. So it's like 30 knobs, 9 Mega Nobz, Gazgul, 2 mega bosses. I think that's what I was looking at. Something like that. I'd have to go back and double check, but I was mucking around on Battlescribe with ideas. Solvent abuse is here. What's the crack? Dread. Must get some airbrush lessons off you. Oh, I'm not a dab hand. I just know 1 or 2 things myself. It's like anything. It's just about practice, really. Take foam rubber, run it through a blender, and shred it. Throw on thin black acrylic paint. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I know you can make clump foliage from scratch. It's the effort. You know yourself, Gary. It's getting a blender and doing the paint. I could do clump foliage in black, but do I really want it at this stage? You know what I mean? Like, I already have clump foliage. I've done all the Stone Boys. I think if I was doing the Stone Boys from scratch again, then yes, it would make sense to invest in like an L cheap blender that you don't care about, even a second-hand one or whatever, and use that on the foam and then dye the foam black. If I was doing all the Stone Boys again, I would. I want to go find me 4th edition codex, because I could have sworn that we used to be able to take Stone Boys in units of 20 from what I remember. So max unit 10 now seems a bit meh. Mind you, that seems to be a nerf that they've done to orcs in general, is they've reduced the max unit size. So the bike unit size is reduced. Weirdly enough, the commando minimum size is 10 now, which I found really odd, because I thought commandos going around in small units actually made tactical sense, which would be very Blood Axe Commando. But like, unit size 10 for them. Stone Boys, it's either 5 or 10, which I found odd. Mega Nobz, I'm pretty sure you used to be able to take in units of 10 at one stage. So there's just across the board, there just seems to be a reduction in the maximum size of units, which I find really weird. Boys themselves, max units of 20. Like, I used to, like, my go-to was mobs of 30 boys, always. Mobs of 30 boys. And they've changed it to 20s. I mean, they haven't changed it with this codex. I think they changed it with a previous one. God knows which one. It's hard to keep up to date these days. Sure, don't they release a new Ork codex every couple of months these days, huh? Or a new edition, at least. So if I was asking, how many will I make in the Megamex? Probably 2. 2 or 3. This is insane. It may not be impossible to find in black. It's just literally just foam stuffing. I just would not know where to look for it in black. Soaking India ink. India ink's kind of blue though, isn't it? Dyeing the foam black might be a good idea. It's not a bad shout, yeah. Wouldn't have the problem of showing through the paint that way. Gary saying you need someone green acrylic paint. Work fine. Black might turn out grey though. This is true. I reckon you could get a black that would show black enough to be decent. You know what I mean? Worst case scenario, it's a dark grey. So instead of black at the end of the smoke trails, you'll have a dark grey. So it's not going to won't be bad. Just a stupid idea, says Sci-Fi. Like, one, make a model, make it into a clear resin globe paperweight, slightly colour the resin. It shows their force field. I mean, you could do. Or haven't people done that with this sort of the UV resin, where they've got them on like Christmas baubles or whatever, put the UV resin on it, and then attach that to miniatures, so it's like a partial sphere as a shield, and then airbrushed like hexagonal or hexes, yeah, hex grids on it. So it looks like, do you ever see in some video games where the shield will show up whenever it's being hit by a projectile or something like that? I've seen that sort of effect on it. It looks pretty good. Carrie Hauser saying you can get foam and black Toto motorcycle seat padding when building them. Maybe get some of that and shred it. Maybe. As long as it's cheap and cheerful, you're grand. You know? I think that's the idea behind it, is just keep it cheap. I mean, this packing foam that we get with stuff, like I know there's some packing foam with my airbrush case, but I don't know where I've put it. But yeah, you can get foam in black. Black would probably be more ideal if you can get your hands on it. I'm surprised Evergreen don't sell it, clump foliage in black. Like, I like their foliage clusters, but there's videos out there. There was a channel by Vivek Chandra, Viv, Rubbish In, Rubbish Out, and he did videos years and years ago. I've been following him on YouTube for Jesus, well over a decade now. But he did videos years ago about making his own clump foliage, and it was literally like a blender, wet the foam, put it in the blender, blend it up, add in acrylic paint, and he used to do containers of the stuff, like IKEA containers of the stuff. So like, if you're doing volume, it makes sense to make your own. But if you're not going to be doing that much volume, you know, it's a case of a trade-off between effort. Like, even with the airbrush, using an airbrush might be more effort than it's worth if you're doing one unit or a small unit. But as soon as you're doing 30 or 60 miniatures, you know what I mean, it really starts to pay off. Like, I don't think I would have got them smoke plumes finished in time for the event if I didn't use an airbrush. Like, if I had been dry brushing, there's no way, man. There's no way I would have got them done in time. I mean, we had months to get stuff done, but you know me, leave things until the last minute. Not that we're gonna have an event that requires me using Mega Nobz, but I just felt like building some. This is what happens when I go to events and I enjoy games and I have a laugh. You know what I mean? I want to do hobby then. It's a key component to motivate me to do hobby, is enjoying the gameplay. You know, seeing other people's cool conversions and stuff like that. That's all part and parcel for me. Whereas if I'm not enjoying a game, I'm not as motivated as such to get hobby done. Or if I dislike a game, Jesus, I don't give a rat's. So that's why you didn't see me doing very much 40k stuff, because I just wasn't enjoying playing the game. I wasn't as invested. I don't really like the way GW are treating the fans. You know what I mean? Pretty much like milk them for everything they're worth. Like this whole shitebaggery with the data cards, where it's like, hey, we've released the data cards, but there's no formations in it, but you can get the formations in the codex. I'm sure the codex, you know what I mean, the points value in it are already out of date before it's released. And there's all sorts of shenanigans. People getting codexes with like German pages in them, and all sorts of subpar shenanigans in my eyes. You know, but I don't think I'll bother. This is the first time I think I'll turn around and go, I'm not bothered getting an Ork Codex. Maybe I'll get it eventually, but I'm not pushed to get it at this moment in time. I might just hold out until the Orks are nerfed or something like that, and people start selling them second hand for nothing, because they devalue super quick, the books now. They devalue super quick. And like the limited edition one is €80 or something like that. It's like, Jesus Christ. Arm and a leg. I bought a limited edition one back in, what was it, 7th edition? The 7th edition limited edition box set For 100 quid, so 20 quid more than the limited edition they're doing now. I think it was €100 or 100 quid. And that came in a box, and it had like art, and it came with like custom orc coins for objectives. I mean, they screwed that release up as well. They didn't give out the numbers for the print run. You know what I mean? They forgot to assign numbers, so there's like a sticker. I should actually show that. That's hilarious. But it's just, you know what I mean? Another one of the shit shows that they do for the orcs. It's all about the Marines, man. It's all about the Marines. But I digress. We shall chip it away with our Mega Nobz. And eventually paint them in colour colours. I'm sure Jesus, we won't know ourselves. But I don't have any Mega Bosses. I have old Mega Armoured bosses. Old Mega Armoured Gazgulls that I'll have to convert up, I think. Some folks are resin 3D printing the shields using clear with a hint of ink. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Ork saying after seeing those tinted clear plastic force rail pieces, Green Stuff World, they don't have an idea for a customization of a Quasimodo for Battletech. The one production mech to carry blue shield. Ah, yeah, it'll be an interesting conversion. Second time he's mentioned Christmas this stream, everyone's there humming carols at him. How dare you, sir? Scar, you make the foliage, I'll find a couple of deadfall trees. We'll make trees for tabletop games and railway enthusiasts. Jeez, there'd be no stopping us, Si. I mean, we've seen in the hobby stores people trying to charge a tenner for fucking twigs, so, you know, apparently there's a market for anything these days. I use a single action airbrush with layout primer on all my models, makes them easier to paint in. Yeah, single action works. I like the double action ones. It's nice to be able to get control on the amount of paint and the amount of air. Gives you better control, I feel. But single action works as well. If you're just priming stuff, if you're not looking to do anything super swank, I mean, once you learn how to use your airbrush to the best of your abilities, you know, there's no stopping you. But like a siphon fed single action wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, do you remember that old school bleeding hand flamer airbrush that GW did years and years ago? That's like that's a single action airbrush, and that was siphon fed. Do you know what would be hilarious if I dug that old hand flamer out and then actually attached it to the compressor? I wonder if there's a fitting I could get for it, because it was stuck to aerosol cans. But I'd love to give it a punt. So if I said so limited edition, they didn't even have the issue number certificate. Yeah, that's true, man. Heritage Junk and Me Too. Not the only ones. Gary says he's got a nice Iwata double action. Lorcan is putting links in the chat. Oh, Jesus. What links are you putting in the chat, Lorcan? Green Stuff World, is it? Oh, this must be the bubble shields you're on about. Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of Green Stuff World and their corporate shite-baggery mentality. Some of their products are decent, some of them are garbage. Yeah, definitely some shenanigans going on. Resin bits. Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. So this is what Lorcan was on about. No thanks. These suitable for 1 in 48 scales. These sort of hex resin energy shields. I suppose the glue to the bottom here. Yeah, it's not bad. Work for a mech. Oh, they're just, yeah, they 3D prints. I think they're just 3D prints, resin bits. Yeah, I think they're just 3D prints. What can I say? I'm mainly using a pair of Green Stuff World airbrushes at the moment. Hey, if it works, man. So I find my experience with the GW airbrush is why I've never took any real airbrush out of the box. Jesus Christ. So like basing your experience on airbrushes with that GW one is just like, my god. That's like riding a riding a go-kart that's missing two wheels when you're a kid and then turn around as an adult and saying, I'll never buy my own car. You know what I mean? It's like, no, just no. Yeah, you need to have a crack at a decent airbrush. But it is intimidating, I will say that much. You need to be able to troubleshoot and a little bit technically minded, because if you're having issues with your airbrush, you need to be able to figure out how to fix it. And if you're not that way inclined, it may not be the tool for you. But like I keep saying, it is just a tool. You know what I mean? It's not a case of, oh, I only airbrush, or this weird mentality of, you know, painting by brush or painting by hand or painting by airbrush, or this sort of rivalry or whatever makes no sense. To me, it's just another tool in the box, man, you know, to get jobs done. And sure, why wouldn't you? But yeah, it can be useful. There's quite a few effects you can do with it pretty quickly and pretty easily, like the transitions on the smoke plumes and painting them up. Like that came up really nice, but like was also very easy to do with the airbrush. Could have been done with dry brushing. Would have been a hell of a lot more effort though. Would have been a hell of a lot more effort dry brushing. Would have taken a year and a bleeding day as well. But then you have to take into account, you know, unclogging the brush, you know, when it dries up too much, being able to fix the needle and stuff, you know what I mean? So you have to be able to troubleshoot with an airbrush and get it to work, because it will at times get clogged and need to be cleaned and need to be partially taken apart and figured, and you need to handle it correctly and not damage the needle and clean the parts and be meticulous with it. Like, and if you're not that way inclined, maybe it's not for you, but don't let it discourage you. It's a really useful tool, but it's another tool in our box, really, more than anything, you know. It's like having a fine detail brush or a large brush or a large dry brush. Like, yeah, you could just paint with one brush, but if you have different types of brush, some of them might be better suited for some jobs. So I look at an airbrush that way. It's just another brush to me. Gary saying those look like what some folks are resin printing in clear and tinting. Yeah, they look. Yeah, I get what you're saying. I was thinking I use magnets, of course, so you could pop that onto the mini for when the shield is on and remove when off. That's not a bad idea. I thought about doing something like that in regards to explosions. If you have like an ammo hit, if you magnetized it onto a mech, like say like with your archer here, if you sunk a magnet in where his ammo is, and then if you magnetized like an explosion, it's like, oh no, we got an ammo hit, and you know, you'd magnetize it. But that's me more thinking of like battle reports and taking pictures, you know, mid games. Like, oh, you suffered a crit and got hit in the ammo, and then like being able to plug it on. But you can also have the same effect with blue tack, so who knows? Might be too much effort then. What can I say about it? €30 compressor off of Amazon. It's one designed for use in beauty parlors. It's small and fits on a desk as a result. Oh, nice. I bought the Badger one. I think it was 175, 170 with a tank. And that's grand, because it doesn't run all the time as well. It's not as noisy because it has like I think it's a 5 litre tank. And the tank acts as a moisture trap, and then there's a moisture trap built on it as well. But by Jesus, I used the bejesus out of that thing on the couple of weeks running up to our war boss. I got me money's worth, I can tell you. Gary, you saying he got one with a storage tank anyway to get the precious out, right? Yeah, that's it, Gary. And they're not going to wear it out as quick because the motor's not running constantly. But being able to adjust the pressure is super handy, man. It really is. We are looking for another base for our Mega Nobz. And then, as I said, I might have to go digging in me bits boxes tomorrow and seeing if I can find more of these bonces. Ziploc bags are your friend. We've a whole bag of aces here, so I'm just digging them out. I had a lack of 32mm bases when I was trying to build stuff for the meetup, but then I managed to find loads of 32mm bases as well. I'm bringing stuff back from Dames. A lot of those box sets had 32mm bases as well with them, so we're swimming in 32mm bases. But I'll still be putting me orcs on 25s, I can tell you. You're sticking the boys on 25s, because I think older editions is where I'll be leaning mostly. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. I've still yet to use standard orc boys in this edition. I still find it so weird that it's that'll be mobs at 20. You know what I mean? My brain just is like, why wouldn't you take 30? It's like, it's not 30, it's mobs at 20. That's so odd for me. Like, I always built mobs at 30. I mean, the only time I built a mob at 20 was when they were going on to teleporter pad, I think. Or if they were going on a battle wagon or something. You know, somewhere where you couldn't get a mob at 30. I mean, every now and then I had a Truck Boys mob, which was a mob at 12. Like Ard Boys, kind of. See, this leg needs to be glued together before you glue it to the miniature itself. I remember me old school, like me 48 Ard Boys mob where you'd save up all the shoulder pads and the armoured torsos and the helmets and make an Ard Boys mob out of them and put them in a truck with their 4+ save. They were great crack. I mean, they were still just Orc Boys, but they were Ard Boys. You know what I mean? So unless I was building a specific specialist mob, most of the time, it's mobs at 30 boys. Mobs at 30 boys, and most of me mobs at 30 boys, I think of like 3 of them. I think of 3 of them. 3 mobs at 30 boys. And what did I lean into? Most of my guys for blood axes were shooter boys, but apparently shooter boys are bleeding terrible now. But swings are roundabouts, I think. Some editions like shooter boys are strong, some editions like a chopper boys are strong, so in my eyes just build mobs of both. You know? Because it might be choppers are strong this edition, and then another edition or a codex might be that shooters are strong. But I'm not a mix and match man. It's like all the shooter boys are together, all the chopper boys are together. I don't bother with the whole mixing them. It just seems odd to me. We shall go for the ticker glue for the shoes. What can I say? My Warhammer 8K came with parts to have the SRM launcher firing or not. I magneted the weapon mount and have the launcher not firing, painted and melted, and still need to find the other one. Ah. Is this the metal one from Iron Wind Metals, is it? By the way, those of you who are just 40k aficionados, the Warhammer is a mech in Battletech. And it is older than Warhammer. Otherwise, you can be guaranteed they would have tried to sue the bejesus out of them. So there is Warhammer in Battletech, but there's no Battletech in Warhammer. Aha! The 8K, is that the one? No, that's not the one that you have in your Tenchi Lance, is it? I haven't fought against this one. Try to think off the top of my head which one's the 8K. To the master unit list. Or Sarna. Uh-oh. There's a bit of spray on me keypad. It won't unstick. It really won't unstick. Uh-oh. Haha. You swine. Yeah, the Iron Metal Mini reworking of the Reseal one, the one in my 3C lance you loved, C3 even. The one with the 2 heavy PPCs. Ah, yes, that one. That bastard that just refuses to bleed and die. Isn't it a zombie mech as well? I don't think it has any ammo on it. And your cheese whore. Fucking C3 lance. The bleeding cheek here. How did your C3 go on the Alpha Strike tournament? Did it pan out well for you, or how did you find its use? I know you came in second place, mind you. That's because I wasn't there to come in second place, Lorcan. And don't let that get to your head there, bud. You know what I mean? Every now and then I won't show up to one just to give you an opportunity. But how did you find the C3 lance in general for Alpha Strike? As you can see, massive pauses on the Mega Nobz. Massive. We are chugging through these. 3, 6. So we need to do another 4 of these. 4 more. And then we'll have... Jeez, we'll have a few left. We'll have a few bits left after that. So there's one. Oh Jesus, we even have Gasgul on sprue. Look at that way. I didn't ever bother me bollocks to fucking build them, but eventually. So 1, 2, and that's just, this is probably the mech. So 1, 2, 3, and one more. Would make it 4. Should be one more. No. More bits of gas going everywhere. Jesus Christ. Ah, sure. We'll probably get one more built now. It'll be grand. Bits of mechs everywhere. Everywhere. Who takes 4th place, says Deason. Ah, someone else. Definitely not me or Lorcan. Didn't bring C3 in the end, just a straight up list. Decided to keep it simple-ish. The main gimmick was the Atlas and the Warhammer I had took ballistic reinforced armor. Oh, okay. And how does ballistic reinforced armor work in Alpha Strike? Because I know how it works in Battletech Total Warfare, but I've not tried it in Alpha Strike. I take it just reduces damage on hits, but then if they're doing incremental damage, then how does that work? Someone's over there munching all the popcorn to herself. How dare she? There better be some left. No, you're grand. They can't hear you. I'm just taking the piss out of you. That's grand. Yes, I'm sure. Mrs. Skarner is terrified. She's like, oh, Jesus, they didn't hear me on the stream, did they? Jesus. It's like, no, love, you're alright. There just better be some popcorn by the time I'm finished. That's alright. We'll stick another packet on. She's eating the whole bleeding thing. See what I have to put up with? See the price I have to pay? But I misread how good the armor is. It reduces damage from units with a IF, SRM, indirect fire, SRM, LRM, or AC by 1. Thought it half the damage. Reduced everything non-energy by 1. If you're playing with multiple attack rolls, you do the damage reduction after rolling hits, but always take minimum 1 damage. Oh, okay. That's pretty good, actually, yeah. Just the general damage reduction. That isn't energy. Yeah, I'm looking forward to UK Games Expo. It's coming up at the end of this month. Myself and Lorcan will be going over as Catalyst demo agents. And we'll be demoing such games as Leviathans and Battletech. And who knows what else they'll rope us into. It'll be great crack. So if any of the rest of you are going to the UK Games Expo, do drop by the Catalyst Games Labs booth and say hello. Or, you know, might even get yourself a chance of being taught how to play a game or get a game in. The lads are working on some very swank dioramas, very top secret. Can't be giving out any secrets at the moment, but it'll be really cool when we get to see them. Be really cool. Oh, Jesus. So, 4 more. Yeah, could you imagine buying these off full retail now, man? Very good. I do wonder at times, you're playing a game of 40k and you're looking at what you have on the table. So, like, even the Def Cop this, for instance. So, if we bought them full retail, what are they? 55 quid? So that's nearly €20 a model off a Games Workshop. Like nearly 20 quid a model. Like. That's just nuts. What's it like? 18.25 a model, I think. Something like that it works out as. Or something close to that. But pretty much nearly 20 quid a model. Now imagine if you lost one of them, or you're in a gaming store and one of them goes missing. This stuff does happen in gaming stores from time to time. Like 20 quid for one model. And these are what, €55 a pop? If you buy from Games Workshop. You know, they're steep enough. Like I said, I remember being able to buy these for €10.50 a blister pack when they were metal, and thought that was a bit steep. And then they did them in plastic, and it's like, hey, even more expensive. It's like that's not how that's supposed to work. But it was the same thing with Finecast as well. They were switching over to Finecast, which was a cheaper. You know, it really helps if I keep what I'm working on screen. That was the big thing with like Finecast as well. That people hated was, hey, we're switching to a cheaper material, but there was no saving for the customer. In fact, it cost more. So, you know, a miniature would go away that was metal and came back in the Finecast resin and would be even more expensive. So it's like, here, have an inferior material and product, because boy Jesus, when it first came out, it was shocking. Have this inferior product at more cost. Hey! It's like, what genius thought this up? It's not so much of an issue these days, though, as most things are now in plastic. I like this kit. I like the Mega Nobz kit. It's a good kit. It's got a lot of bits in it. I thought it was a decent kit when it came out. Still a decent kit. I like it. I just don't like the price point of it. That's all. So, It doesn't really come into box sets that often, but if it does, if you can sell off the other bits of the box set, it's well worth it. Like I said, when Saga the Beast came out, I jumped all over it. And that's how I ended up with the amount that I have. So you just need to be savvy and bide your time. I'm sure there might be a box set that has them in it. What you're looking for is like a multi-army box set that has Space Marines, because people will buy the Space Marines and then the Ork half of those box sets will usually be some stuff has changed. OBS disconnected and reconnected. Yay! Don't know what happened there. We seem to be back in action. I think the internet's blipped. But yeah, I'd like to see these fielded on like a big apocalypse game or something like that. That'd be fun. Think of a unit name like, and go from there. Or even the flyer. It's a pity like the Borna bombers and Daka jets and stuff like that are terrible. But I really, really want to do a Borna bomber. Like I think I enjoyed doing the flame effect once I got it down as well. Like, so I figured out how to do the flame effect with the airbrush. So once I figured out how to get it done, it's like, well, you know, I could do this with Borna bombers or Borna boys or, you know, flying stompers. There's a lot of opportunity to make units. That would use the flame effect. And it'd be fun. Like, I think a Borna Bobber with like a Borna missile with a missile trail leading back to the flyer, and that's how it's mounted. Like, that's how it stays up instead of a flying stand. One of them firing and hitting the ground or something like that. I'd like to figure out how to do that. I think that'd be pretty cool. That'd be a fun effect. Just to sort of problem solve it, even like to figure out how would you do that as a concept, like how I would approach it myself, and how to mount the miniature so that it's flying in the air with some napalm going off, or some of the other ones like I was thinking of doing if they had like bombs on them, if there was a bomb going off and a little bit of the smoke off of the bomb going off just barely tipped the aircraft wing tip or something, and you can have that as the mounting point for the aircraft, stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's that's where my mind's going at the moment. Although Storm Boys have sort of kicked that sort of creative drive in my mind at the moment. And again, plastic dropships. When plastic dropships come out, boy Jesus, there'll be no stopping me. Making smoke plumes to bait the band, I will. Tom Mac is saying, hopefully Orcs come in the 11th box set. Even if I don't play it, I'll happily buy cheaper models. Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Anytime the Orcs are in a box set, it's generally good for them. We were in the 2nd edition box set, and we were in the 5th edition box set. I think the Nids... Is it Nids this time? Because it was Necrons last time. This is the first time Nids... No, it's not. It's the second time Nids have been in a starter box set. Because 4th edition was the first time that the Tyranids were in. So Nids were in 4th edition and 10th. Orcs were in 2nd edition and 5th. I don't think the Elder have been in any of them. The Dark Elder were in the 3rd edition. Who else is there? Tau haven't been in any of the starter sets. I'm trying to think, is there anyone else? Chaos has been in a couple of them. I think that was like 6th and 7th, I think, were pretty much, that was like Chaos. Because you got all the cultists and stuff. And then there was 8 as well, was it? The Plague Marines? I think that was 8th edition, was it? So you had like General Chaos, and then you had the Plague Marines. So you had like 3 editions with various chaos in it. Mega Nobz, hey, don't let Scar fool you. He's got his finger on the meta. I wish, man. I saw this cool technique to make small flame effects. I'm dying to try it with boyz. Yeah, man, that'd be cool. I was thinking that as well, doing flame effects with boyz. Well, I'm on that clump foliage wagon, man. That's what has me. I've been bitten by it. It's great crack. Thinking about doing it. Now, I did a little one for... Hold on, and I'll get him out of the carry case. Like, my army's still in the carry case from the event. So we have like this guy, right? So this was, if you're watching our character build challenge, I did this knob with like a combi, and I didn't get to finish him. I wanted to do OSL and stuff like that, but I'll come back to him eventually. But I did this little flame for him. But this needs to be repainted because this is totally wrong. I've now learned, I didn't know beforehand, but I've now learned how to paint. So that really should be, that should be like that really. If you get me. Do you know what I mean? See the way I have like white as the inner part to be hot or whatever. That's wrong. So this is totally painted wrong. You get a rough idea of the flame effect that I'm trying to do, but it's totally wrong. So what I need to do is I need to repaint that and paint it up like that. So if it was, if you get me, maybe less smoke and more flame. Maybe I only go up to the grey and barely any black, but I need to repaint it to be something like that. And it'll be way better. Because I'm starting to understand. It's like, okay, well, look at this flame. What's the hottest part? It will be the source. And then it'll get cooler going out. And then these parts up here, so the very top parts here, they should be probably going into smoke or black, transitioning out, if you get me. Don't get me wrong, it looks cool, but I know how to fix it now, or I know how to make it better in my mind's eye, if you get me. Which is fun, because you learn as you go, like. Yeah, Scar, you were 12 inches long too. Jesus Christ, would you stop? Do I have... Jeez, do I have the brass rod? I think do I have brass rod? How long is this brass rod? Is it 12 inches? Jesus, it's fucking... Where's my old templates? Do I have an old flame tape? Well, some people threw these away. I did not. Because I love them. So... Jeez, I don't even know how you'd... Like, how would you... You'd have to have it so that... You'd have to have it so that the template sits on the ground by itself and just reconnects. If you get me. I cut myself on something in that box. So if you got... Beep. Man, I miss templates. I do. I miss templates out of the game. They were great fun. They were one of my favourite parts of the game. I think this is from the... Assault and Blackreach box set, I think, this sort of luminous screen. I missed them terribly. They were great crack. I think they'll bring them back eventually. I think so. I'd be surprised if they don't. I think they'll bring them back. Nice camo pattern on your knob there. Jace, careful now. Within earshot of the missus, don't get her too excited. Gonna get battered. Magnet at the end of the barrel and a magnet at the small end of the template. Yeah, maybe. can be doable. Flamethrower will be shooting a napalm-like liquid and bright burning aspect should travel the length of the flamer's range. It depends, yeah. But like the top of it should be more kind of smoke, if you get me. If it's napalm, like is it napalm? Like what is it? Like I was trying to figure out because like if you look at World War II stuff, like the likes of the Sherman crocodile and stuff, that is like a gelatinous sort of liquid. But having a gelatinous liquid sprayed and then having flames coming out of it, that would be a different thing again. But just trying to, I think if I do a different sort of flame effect, I think I can do it a bit better. The white balance on this blows it up. So it's coming out like super white. But yeah, I want to dabble one out. I want to have a crack at it again. Well, putting camo on your knob probably doesn't impress some people. You never know. You never know. Watching footage from me with Jim might help. Yeah, Jesus. A gelatinous liquid spray, again phrasing. Listen, get your mind out of the gutter, Lorcan, right? It's nobody to blame but yourself. We're having a civil conversation about miniatures and, you know, historical accuracy or whatever. But I'm trying to even think like there's a few of the mechs that have come in the mercenary box sets for BattleTech, and they have plumes already. So I'm thinking to myself like, it should be easy enough to paint them up if I use the same sort of technique. That sort of rocket plume effect that I've done. I might save that for the next painting competition that's on. You know, maybe one for GaleCon or something. Pull out all the stops, eh? Ta-da! And the core of another Mega Nobz is slowly being assembled. Decent, Jesus. Kind of feel that Orcs lean towards dirtier, smoky weapons vehicles. Yeah, like the Russians. If you ever see like the Russian Navy, like it just pumps out absolute plumes because the fuel that they use is so dirty, like, and just crap. Like you can spot them on the horizon. I reckon Orcs would be like that. They'd burn like dirty fuel, so it wouldn't be super clean. So it would be a bit more smoky. I could see that. But then you never know. There might be sneaky blood axes that have like super refined their fuel. People are used to Orc vehicles and weapons being super smoky, and it's like, haha. But it's not now. We tricked you. You thought we were Imperials. But it's actually blood axes driving them Le Mans Russes. They changed the Sentinel even. Like I was looking at the Imperial Guard Sentinel. I was down in the local model shop, Mark's Models, and one of the guys there, Simon, shout out to Simon, what's the crack, bud? He was building Imperial Guard Sentinels, and Jesus, they're bleeding huge now. They've blown them up. They've scaled them up again. They look totally different now. Like they're massive. I just couldn't believe it. I was like, what the hell is that? It's like a Sentinel? It's like, yeah. It's like, what? Just couldn't believe the scale of a lot of this stuff now. Some of it's just huge, man. Absolutely huge. Refined fuel is considered a fine drink. Ask any speed freak. True. The good stuff. Ah, a fine vintage indeed, good sir. Not the proof, but what's the octane on it? BC is saying he's working on his first Death Killer War Trike. I've built an independent base for my magnetized speed boss with a Necromunda ammo crate to put his foot on top of. Ooh, cool. Keith is saying, I imagine dark smoke billowing from their vehicles, also wiring, sparking, and cracking. Wiring, sparking, and cracking. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not? And it's the beautiful thing with orcs, like, is everyone can have their own sort of vision of them, and nobody's wrong, you know? Because the army is built around the vision of the war boss. And you're the war boss, so your army reflects you. And I've always liked the blood axes, because when I read the lore for the different clans, when I started with them in the 4th edition, the 4th edition codex is when I really started. I knew of the clans a little bit, and I thought the guys that used camo, I thought they'd be cool. But then when I read the lore for them, like, about how they're tactical, and because they're mercenaries and they trade with the Imperial and stuff like that, they're seen as scumbags by the other orcs. So I was like, yep, these guys, these are the dudes for me. Camo and, you know, seen as scumbags, traitors, and they're supposed to be the natural leaders or whatever. And that sort of backfired. I'm like, yep, I like these guys, these look cool. Plus, I just thought the idea of stealing an Imperial Guard tank and then just reusing it, having your orcs loot it and reuse it, just sounded really funny. I mean, what's not to love? Decent saying, I think you're right, Scar. The lower bits would be brighter along the length, and the upper bits would be dirty, black, smoky bits. Probably, that's what I'm thinking visually. I'll have a crack at it with the airbrush when I get the chance. Sci-fi saying, you found another quarter mile of slow bushes today, walking a dog, another potential source of elixir of amnesia ingredients. Jesus. We barely managed to get around to drink much this time, because we had such a busy schedule recording battle reports, we barely drank. I mean, Jesus, we were kept busy. My games, thankfully, tended not to last as long as most of the others, just because of the pure aggression. Super aggressive. I brought a super aggressive list, but it was fun. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the battle reports, because we had 15 battle reports and I wasn't in 10 of them. You know, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the other battles went. Which is cool, because it's like, you know, I participate, but I also get to watch as well. And it's the same for the others. Be good crack. Smoke is easier to sneak about in. Gobstop of the everlasting. Love it. Also heavy mental blasting. So if I said Scar fell for the shiny medals and grey coats, not a proper orc. Oh no, how do I? Back across the water. You can't hit me now. I know where you live though. Tommy Mac pulling up to your Rhino at traffic lights in your Blood Axe Land Raider. Too right, mate. Like, I'd love to go to Warhammer World and just have a load of do you ever see, like, the way some Orc fans have magnetic logos? Like, they'll have big squares that are just magnetic instead of actually having decals. I would love to go to Warhammer World and have a load of them done up in, like, orc glyphs and orc slogans and stuff, and then just go up to the Rhino and throw them on the Rhino. So you'd have these magnetic sheets. I mean, you could even really, if you found out the dimensions of it and did it perfectly, because it's metal, you could even, like, just put, like, glyphs and dags and checks on it. You know, I think that would be hilarious. Run up, throw them on it for a photo shoot, and then take them off and run off again. That'd be hilarious. I really want to loot the Warhammer World. Maybe one day in protest, stick cardboard onto it, looted plates. That would work. Totally. We could do something like it. Obviously, we don't want to deface it because, you know, then we'd just be shitebags. But there has to be a fun way of like magnetizing like fake armor panels, or magnetizing cardboard, like as I was saying, or maybe even, do you ever see them when there's elections on? If you get those election signs after they're done, and if you magnetize, put magnets into the back of them or whatever, and you do like fake armor strips, you could definitely measure it and then mock it up and then loot it. Do you know what I mean? Just throw magnets onto it. That sounds like fun. That sounds like a sort of a flash mob looting that needs to happen. Breaking news today: Ultramarines Rhino looted in Warhammer World. Ork fanbase run rampage. That'd be too funny. Did I tell you about the time I got kicked out of the Warhammer World car park for sitting on the Rhino? It was after one of the days we were gaming. I may have drank a few alcoholic beverages, and there was a no sitting on the Rhino sign the next year we arrived. I think quite a few people must have done it. Magnetize a really useful box to it. I should feel like I should know what a really useful box is, but my brain is not bringing anything to mind straight away. I was there, it was hilarious. Pulled a dim, did I? Yeah. It was fun. We got given out to by security, but it was grand. In fact, I think it's on one of the old Me videos. Good times. I do miss that. I have to be honest. I do miss the Ork Mega Battles in Warhammer World. We used to do it for years. I used to organise them. I do miss the old Mega Battles in Warhammer World where it was just Orcs v Orcs. That's all it was, and it was great crack. And you'd see people bring their conversions, bring their armies. You know, typically I think we were running it like it would be 3,000 points, and you know, you were allowed one apocalypse unit or something like that. You know what I mean? So you'd have Stompies, you'd have Gargantuan Squigots, you'd see like battle fortresses, you'd see stuff that typically you wouldn't see on the table. You know what I mean? And it was just good fun. You'd see people's creations year in and year out, and what they'd built since the last time you saw them, and stuff like that. I missed that. That was fun. I think Dread was talking about doing a War Boss meet, or not a War Boss meet, but like a community event in the south of England. But maybe something up in Warhammer World up in the later part of the year wouldn't be a bad idea either. You know, just a one-day event even wouldn't be a bad idea. Might look into it and see what the crack is. I don't even know if they take table bookings anymore in Warhammer World. I'll have to check it out. We got wrong for playing with the Stormbolter. Yeah, well, someone had broke the Stormbolter before we got there, if I remember correctly. Orcs get tossed from all the best places. This is true. I'll be back in a bit if I'm still on. Well, we'll wrap up in about 5 minutes, Lorcan, so I'll catch you another time. We will have done our 2 hours of stream, and we have the core of a few more Mega Nobz built. We don't have much left. What have we got? After this one, we'll have 2 more to build. I don't even, like, are Mega Nobz any good? Are they decent? I have absolutely no idea. I just think it'll look brutal. Miss me own Mega Nobz. I have to go find them as well. Where are me own Mega Nobz? Me metal ones. I still don't know where half me miniatures are. I'm sure they're around somewhere. Sure they wouldn't have gotten far. Did that die out due to the form gone away or lack of interest in edition or something else? Even when you weren't there, we arranged it for you to launch rocks onto the battlefield using APOC templates. Good times. This was true, Si. So we talk about organising our community meetup in Warhammer World. Mainly due to the forum going down. Yeah, so basically what happened was when the forum went down, we actually, most of us stayed in contact together. And I still organised the events. Even though I'd moved back to Ireland, I was still booking it from here. But it just petered out then after that. I didn't book the event. I left it to the others. And then when I left the managing of booking the events and booking stuff to some of the other guys, they just, I don't think anyone picked up the ball then at that stage. You know what I mean? It just died on its ass. It just stopped. But yeah, I think it's something that could be started again. I think it'll be fun. There, the new hotness, says BZ. Oh, so I'm coming across as an absolute cheese whore now. For once, Scar is on the hot pulse of the meta. I love it. Places like Firestorm Games might be better due to all the 3D printed stuff these days. Many would want to bring. Yeah, but Tommy Mac, going to Warhammer World is great crack. I've no problem with not being allowed to use 3D printed stuff or not being allowed to use third-party stuff. That doesn't bother me too much. It's sort of the spectacle of going to Warhammer World, you know what I mean? Plus the likes of other venues you tend to have to pay, you know. I like going to Warhammer World. It's like there's the museums there, you pay into it, but there's Bugman's, you know what I mean? There's Warhammer World itself. It's you know, it's a nice sort of event. It's not the end of the world not being able to use third party stuff to me. I know others may not agree, but myself personally, you know, if I was going to bother to do something, I would do it Warhammer World. Or mind you, I do know what a wargaming club in Leeds. That might be an idea. Rent out their hall or whatever. But I don't know what Leeds is like for people either. Like, how far is it from? I'd have to look. There's a few options, but yeah, I'd like to do something up the north. The tribes, the northern tribes, since the southern war bosses seem to be doing something down in the south. When do we start getting the bat reps from the big meetup? Next week. I think the first one is next Thursday. The first battle report is myself and Stevo. That is, yeah, I believe next Thursday at either 8 or 9 o'clock on the Warboss channel. I think it's actually already uploaded into the channel. I just have not looked at it myself. It's been edited and everything, and it's literally ready to rock and roll. So I reckon in the next couple of days we will start seeing it being promoted. So there will be one next week. By the looks of it, I think we're going to see the bat reps. Yeah, over the next few weeks. Steve-O's editing them. Fair play to him. He's got his work cut out for him there. But it'll be like I said, the ones I'm not in, I'm really interested in seeing. The ones I'm in, I obviously, you know, played in them, so I know what happened. But it's nice to get the old memory jogged as well. But yeah, it'll be fun. I think next time around we're due to do Gorka Morka, but maybe not 5 battles. Boy, Jesus, that was a lot. That was an awful lot. We didn't get to play BattleTech. We didn't get to play a lot of the board games and such that people brought to play. We did a live stream as well one of the nights. So it was pretty bleeding action packed, in fairness. And the first night that we were there, I was still painting like a madman. I was there up until, Jesus, I was up until the wee hours painting. Still painting stuff. Still painting Storm Boys. That was of my own doing. And not prepping more in advance. But hey ho, you know, that's more miniatures banked away and painted. I keep forgetting this, that, you know, as I paint miniatures for these events, that means I've miniatures painted for events. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely finish the teamed flying army. Would be a good idea. I need to find the Born Obama. I know I have a Born Obama somewhere, but I need to find it. Oh. Really should be wearing safety goggles, cutting bits of sprue off, to be honest with you. Jesus, could have hit you in the eye. Knock her tooth out. So I reckon what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to finish building this Mega Nobz. So this guy here that I've just finished cutting out, I'm going to finish building him. And then we'll call it a night. So probably another 10 minutes I reckon to build them. What do you think? And then I'm gonna go watch The Walking Dead with the missus, because that's what I promised. And boy Jesus, if I don't, I won't hear the bleeding end of it. That much I can guarantee. Now how it is, have to keep them sweet. Right. Never trust people that only hurt you. Ah, you have to trust. Sure, Jesus. What's the point otherwise? Thursday 9 PM says I think so, yeah. I think Tom was looking at somewhere nearby Derby, which is close enough not on where people can visit you if they want. I mean, if other people are going to organise it, fire away. If I was organising it myself, I would probably... there's a couple of places. Like, see, like I know some wargaming clubs from the own BattleTech. So I'd nearly be... yeah. Like, that's who did the English Nationals last year was... Leeds. Do I have their business card here? I do, look. Aha. How's this for a plug? So, Hicks Hall. Leeds Wargaming. So that was it's BattleTech UK, but they do more than BattleTech, but Leeds Wargaming Club. There you go, there's a plug from BattleTech UK. That's a piece of art done by Ken Coleman for that group. That's pretty sweet. But that's where they play, Hicks Hall. 60 Bankfield Terrace, Leeds. And I can't read their postal code. But that might be somewhere worth checking out. I've been there. They do historical war games. They do 40k games. They do BattleTech games. They have loads of stuff. Terrain. They do like naval games. They have loads of bits and pieces. They're a really cool group. They're a really cool club. The guys are really sound. There's a Greg's only down the road. And I think an Asda. There's a vote thing on the War Boss channel. This is true. So close to being done with this Beast Boss project. Oh, nice. Look forward to seeing it finished. Been painting on it during your life. Nice. Boo, need to make Warrior 5 help, says so. Well, listen, you can face the wrath of the missus because I'm not, right? If you can convince her to let me play Mech Warrior 5 after this, Jesus, fair play to you. But I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. Hey, Scar, how are you going to equip your Mega Nobz? I haven't decided yet. So, like, the fact that they're peg arms, like, you don't have to glue them. I don't know. You know what I mean? So you can just boop. And then if you don't glue them, just decide what way to equip them. So I don't know. I might do some kill saws, some power claws, mix and match, see which works. Like, I have no idea about the meta at the moment, but which is better. I like a classic power claw. Might do half and half maybe. Kill saws on 6 of them and power claws on the other 6. You know what I mean? Might try that. Why, how is everybody else equipping them? Or does it really matter? Mind you, I found power claws a bit disappointing when we were playing in the league. You're only hitting on 4s. They're only -2. And they're only doing 2 damage. Like, you have to remember, like, I've been playing orcs years and years. So, like, back in the day, when you got a power claw up to an enemy vehicle, like, vehicles are really powerful this edition. If you got a power claw up to an enemy vehicle, short of, like, a Land Raider or something really bleeding tough, you were nearly guaranteed to bleed and kill it. You know what I mean? You'd be rolling three attacks, 3 or 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, and usually your knob would be what? Furious Charge, Strength 4. Strength 4 would be doubled, and then you'd be, well, actually, was it Strength 4 or Strength 5? No, they were 5, Strength 5. Because they used to get 5 Strength 5 attacks with sluggers and choppers. So yeah, you know, you'd be hitting with Strength 9 or 10 or whatever, and then rolling your D6 to get a pen hit, you know. And every 1 in 3 of them would be a pen or whatever, you know. You'd be blowing shit up left, right, and centre. It used to be great. Whereas now it's like, you're hitting on 4s, so everything hits. Toughness is like massive. Most of the time you're going to be wounding on 5s. Which is about the same as, you know, the penetration. But then you're knocking 2 wounds off of a vehicle that has 14, 16, 18 wounds. Fucking a million wounds. Like, they don't really do as much, I find. So if I was saying Leeds would be handy for the northern lads, less over the southerners. Yeah, so but they're doing a separate southern meeting, so I'm like, you know, whatever. Those mechs look like a good source of Dake. Gobstopper the Everlasting, War Boss of the Everlasting. Wow. Gobstopper the Everlasting does seem to have a few nuggets of wisdom. The Royal Armoury is in Leeds, which would be good to look around. I didn't get the opportunity to actually check out the Royal Armoury in Leeds when I was there last, which is a pity. I would have liked it, but I didn't get the chance. At present, melee rules. Well, I think if you've got the damage output, melee probably rules. But standard orc boys, like Storm boys, I found the damage output on them wasn't great. You needed, you know, you're gonna need like multiple damage, like damage 3. Is it rockets do damage 3? I think rockets do. Like, I found the Death Copters were really good. I enjoyed the Death Copters with their ability to do mortal wounds if they fly over you. So if they fly over you in the movement phase, then they drop their bombs and they'll do you'll do a mortal wound on a 4+ for each model in the unit. I thought that was cool. That was pretty cool. I like that. But then also the fact that they have rockets. So I think the rockets did 3 damage a piece. 2 or 3 damage a piece. Copter rockets, they were good. It's a pity that the tank busters have been nerfed so goddamn badly. It really is. It's a bleeding travesty. Shocking. You know, imagine you were able to have like your 10 unit 10 tank busters now, Nob with a rocket, and then 9 of them with rockets instead of rocket pistol, tank hammer, Nob, and then 2 with rockets. It's like, Jesus, they're talking about nerfing them, and then it's, Jesus, they brought them out the pasture and just bleeding shot them in the head. Like, they're that badly nerfed. It's pretty bad. Decent saying, I did dual kill saws when I did my latest ones a few years ago. Oh, nice. How did that fare for you? I lived in Leeds from 95 to last year. Just my luck. Great public transport, accommodation and Royal Armies is cool. Oh, nice. Drunken Ork, a look around the Royal Army would be canny. Oh, remember, Jesus. Well, when I go to the UK Games Expo, I think some of the lads from Leeds will be there, so I can chat to them and see what the story is, and see if we can sort something out. We'd need to sort terrain out, I think, or I'd have to see what they have terrain-wise. If we did something there, I think we'd need to sort something out terrain-wise. But I'm sure between the lot of us, we'll sort something out. It wouldn't be too much of an issue. What did we say? 10 or 15 minutes? We're 12 minutes. Not bad on the old guesstimation time-wise, huh? Ashley Kirk managed to get one of the Stomper Boys boxes. Nice! Fair play. They ran out of them. Sid got the last one at his local store when I was there. So I have my 4 Stomper and also my 4 set of new boys. Managed to stay away from them until now. I'm in the same boat, Ashley. I have stayed away. Sadly, I didn't get a Stomper box. But I've, in fairness, I don't really need one. I'm up to me bleeding eyeballs in kits. I have pretty much everything in that box apart from the new mech and the boys. I don't have those push fit boys. I didn't buy that patrol box that they came in. So I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not missing anything. At least I don't think I did. I'll have to check. But I find it so funny that it's been such it's been so hit and miss for GW with that boys kit. Like, no, I've not heard anyone say to me, "Oh, that's a great kit." Anytime anyone talks to me about that boys kit, they're like, "Jesus, they're terrible." People are not happy with that kit at all. And it's weird because it's like a monopose push fit kit, isn't it? So it's almost like it was due to be a starter set or something like that, and then it just didn't happen. Like the Coptays as well, they're like push fit. So it was almost like we were due to get another Assault on Black Reach, like reboot or whatever, and it just didn't happen, which I find odd. I find really odd. But here we go. There is our last Mega Nobz for the night. How many did we manage to get? We managed to get the bare bones of 5 of them built. We're not going to be pushing too far ahead on the progress for them, because I want to see if I can get more of these black orc heads. I should have more in a bits box. I want to get more of them. These black orc heads, see if I can get a few more, and then do some like respirators. It's not a bad idea. We'll have the respirators done something like our WA banner knob. So we'll do respirators like that, and we'll hook up. So we'll stick some on the back like that, something like that. We'll do some respirators, and we'll do some little medals and stuff like that. Make them look a bit more blood axy. Have a bit of crack. But that's the progress so far. So thanks for sticking around, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Hopefully you've all gotten a bit of progress done. And sure, Jesus, it looks like we've got the Sundays back up and rolling. We'll catch you next Sunday. I think we're taking a break from doing the War Boss ones on Sundays for now, or maybe not. We'll see what happens, but we'll have another hobby hangout soon enough. There's plenty of orcs to be painted. There's plenty of Battletech to be painted. Like, there's literally, Jesus, there's fucking handfuls of grey mechs everywhere needing painting them. So stay tuned for more Battletech and 40k Orc madness. We'll catch you next time. And take it easy, folks. Good night.